Hezbollah is one of the largest and most dangerous terrorist organizations in the world, with an arsenal of over 60,000 rockets, thousands of soldiers, and a radical fundamentalist Muslim agenda. Its base of operation, southern Lebanon. Some call Hezbollah the long arm of the Iranian regime. In 2010, the Lebanese police uncovered a huge counterfeit pharmaceuticals operation run by Hezbollah. It has earned Hezbollah hundreds of millions of dollars and flooded the drug market with over 10 tons of hazardous pills, endangering millions throughout the world. "9/11 caught America, and indeed the whole world, by surprise. 9/11 showed everyone that the intelligence experts and decision makers in the world had it all wrong. According to the 9/11 Commission report, a failure of imagination led to a failure of policy, of capabilities, and of management. Senior investigators and intelligence officials worldwide warn that once again, we are failing to see the danger looming ahead. Terrorist organizations are infiltrating the international pharmaceutical industry.
In order to wage war, it costs a lot of money, and there's a lot of money to be made in pharmaceuticals. Whether it's legitimate or whether it's counterfeit or whether it's illegal, there's a ton of money to be made.
The lack of imagination that paralyzed the intelligence community on the eve of September 11th was due in part to the failure of experts from multiple agencies and disciplines to cooperate. Thanks to their unique cooperation, Dr. Miri Halperin-Wernli, an expert in pharmaceutical medicines, and Dr. Boaz Ganor, an international expert on terrorism, are joining forces to tackle this newest threat to world peace: the potential infiltration of terrorists into the pharmaceutical industry.
The pharma industry is much less aware of the possibility that terrorist organizations may infiltrate our premises and our operations, in part by exploiting their already existing ties to criminal organizations, but also through many other direct and indirect access points.
Terrorist organizations might penetrate to the pharmaceutical industry in order to make profit, to motivate their activists by using amphetamines, or to inflict fear and anxiety among the public at large by distributing counterfeited medicines. Our research team has already shown that terrorist organizations are extremely involved in counterfeiting medicines and distributing them.
These terrorist groups could misuse and abuse the pharmaceutical industry, causing scores of damage, death, and terror.
We see it now as our duty to alert the public at large that these mechanisms can easily be exploited by terrorist organizations to inflict terrorist acts all over the world.
The pharmaceutical industry is vast. It is vulnerable to infiltration at multiple points and stages. The research stage, when recruiting scientists or accessing scientific information. The production stage, through theft of medications or raw materials, or the replacement of raw materials with poisonous components. The distribution stage, through theft, adulteration, and the delivery of illegal and unauthorized medications.
When terrorists engage in something like this, they're looking at utility. Utility means how many people could I kill or injure, what kind of economic disruption could I incur, how much could I cause that infrastructure to slow down or stop. So you're looking at an industry that certainly is ripe or prime for those kinds of consequences.
There's a vast amount of counterfeit pharmaceutical products circulating in the market. Now this ranges all the way from ordinary over-the-counter medicines to highly sophisticated anti-cancer drugs.
Scientists and bioengineers are the beating heart of the pharmaceutical industry. They are the experts. They have scientific training and knowledge, as well as access to information, materials, and laboratory equipment. Today, at both small and large pharmaceutical companies, a scientist involved in the production of medications can affect their content to an alarming extent.
It could be someone who has had a loved one pass away because of the inappropriate prescriptions being applied or inappropriate procedures being subscribed. And now they've decided that they're going to seek revenge on an industry because of a misapplication. And so now you have all of the ingredients for a person who's perfect to be a terrorist in the pharmaceutical industry.
Every scientist in the pharmaceutical industry should undergo a background check and be monitored regularly throughout his employment and after he leaves the industry.
Is it possible for somebody with sympathetic ties to a terrorist organization, could they get involved in a legitimate pharmaceutical company and just throw a monkey wrench into the mix? The answer to that one is anything is possible.
At the production stage, millions of people produce hundreds of tons of medication every year all over the world. This mass production is immense in scale. The opportunities for a terrorist organization to infiltrate the production process are many and varied. The two most vulnerable points in the process are the raw materials and quality control.
A lot of pharmaceuticals in the United States come from foreign sources. They come from China, they come from India, and they come from other places in the world. You don't have as much control as if it was here in the United States. So it requires a lot of diligence on the part of the people who are obtaining these products for the manufacture of pharmaceuticals.
2007. A Chinese pharmaceutical company manufactures what everyone thinks is glycerin, the foundation of many pediatric medications. To cut costs, the manufacturer adds 25% diethylene glycol, automobile antifreeze, to the glycerin compound. This gets distributed all over the world. The result? More than 1,000 dead children. 2008. Baxter, a pharmaceutical company that manufactures heparin for cardiology patients. Heparin uses pig tissue. Baxter purchases raw materials from a supplier in China. The Chinese supplier mixes the expensive components of the raw materials with a cheaper one and sends the resulting compound to Baxter. Baxter does not find the counterfeit. It makes and distributes the damaged drug as usual. The result? 150 people dead.
Criminal incidents in the international pharmaceutical industry show how vulnerable this industry is. If the criminals had the motives, the political motives of terrorist organizations, the damage could be much, much greater. Just think, if a small criminal organization can counterfeit hundreds of thousands of pills, what could a broad-based, well-funded terrorist organization do? Actually, there is such an organization who is doing that, Hezbollah. Hezbollah is one of the strongest and most dangerous terrorist organizations in the world.
2006. After the Second Lebanon War between Hezbollah and Israel, Iran sends equipment and supplies to Lebanon. This equipment includes machines for manufacturing counterfeit Captagon pills. Captagon, also known as Fentanyl, invented in 1960 to treat attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. No one makes it anymore. The Moussaoui brothers, senior leaders of Hezbollah, develop a system for the counterfeit production of Captagon in the Bekaa Valley and in Beirut. Machines for manufacturing counterfeit Captagon are found at the home of Sheikh Hussein al-Moussaoui and his brother. Hezbollah has been distributing these counterfeited Captagon pills throughout the world. Hezbollah was granted a special Islamic legal permit issued by one of its prime religious scholars to manufacture counterfeit Captagon, as long as it did not distribute the pills to Shiites. To recap, Hezbollah has manufactured 10 tons of counterfeit medications, which were distributed throughout the Middle East.
This incident is a bright warning signal. It's a wake-up call for all of us. Terrorist organizations already have the operational capability to manufacture counterfeited medicines and flood the market with them. They've already established operational ties with international criminal networks all over the world and use them for distribution. It's only a matter of time until politically motivated terrorist organizations will infiltrate to this industry, cause mass casualties in order to inflict fear and anxiety.
The pharmaceutical industry and the intelligence, security, and defense systems of most of the world's nations are still working with outdated modes of thinking. But they must wake up. They must change their perception. They must realize that every scientist in every laboratory, every supplier of even the smallest quantity of raw materials, every truck or warehouse filled with stolen goods has the potential to spark another 9/11.